These days, the weather feels so hot, isn't it? I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that is feeling as if the heat is really burning through my skin every time I take a step outside. Here in Makassar, we often joke about how it hasn't rained in ages, though it's actually true that we haven't seen rain in these few months. I bet some other cities can also relate to this current situation. I even began to wonder, has my city always been this hot? Let's take a little time travel to the past. Close your eyes and feel. Today is a fine day on the year 2013 and we're walking around the neighborhood. You can feel the fresh air and the slight breeze. Now, open your eyes and compare to how the weather is these days. Of course, walking under broad daylight in 2013 feels hot also. But I don't think it is comparable to the heat when walking with the same situation now in 2023. The question is, what is actually happening here? Ladies and gentlemen, honorable judges and audiences, good day. First of all, I express my gratitude to God Almighty for His endless blessings. I am so delighted by this opportunity. I am Licia-Universitas from Hasanuddin University, and I would like to share some insights about this relatable situation that we've been going through. Back to the question of what is actually happening nowadays. As many of you might have guessed, that's right, climate change. The increase of the Earth's temperature is mainly caused by human activities such as deforestation, air pollution as a result of manufacturing industries, fossil fuels usage to power transportation and electricity, and more. Today, what we're going to focus on is not only that this climate change is caused by us, but it also impacts us eventually, especially in terms of our health. Climate change could lead to various health problems including respiratory and cardiovascular diseases as a result of deteriorating air quality, infectious diseases such as water, air, and vector-borne diseases, food and water insecurity, and the list goes on. Another question, have you ever heard of malnutrition? Or maybe about the global nutritional problems which are considered a triple burden of malnutrition, including obesity or overweight, inadequate intake of micronutrient like iron deficiency anemia, or the undernutrition commonly found in children such as stunting and wasting. If you haven't, malnutrition is a condition when a person's nutrient intake, including carbohydrate, protein, fats, vitamins, and minerals are imbalanced. This could be either a form of deficiency or excess in the amount of nutrient intake in a person's diet on a daily basis. By now, you might be wondering, what does this has to do with climate change? Ladies and gentlemen, realize it or not, climate change plays a significant role in the increase of nutritional problems. As I have mentioned earlier, climate change affects food and water insecurity. This means that drought, flood, and extreme changes in the weather caused by climate change threatens crop yields, animal population, environmental sanitation, and access to clean water, thus impacting the health status of people who are most affected by the increasing risk of infections and malnutrition. People in low-income communities, particularly children, are the most vulnerable to experience hunger and insufficient micronutrient intake due to food insecurity. Also, suffering from diseases such as diarrhea and worm infections influenced by poor access to proper sanitation and clean water, which all leads into undernutrition. Climate change affects nutritional status in a way that it interferes in the availability of sufficient food quantity by reducing food production, mainly agricultural production, because of the changes in land suitability, growing seasons, and crop damages. Less food production may result in higher food prices, insufficient food supplies, and also low food safety due to pollution, therefore resulting in the high prevalence of malnutrition. The results of SSGI, or Survei Status Gizi Indonesia, showed that the prevalence of stunting in children has dropped from 24.4% in 2021 to 21.6% in 2022. However, this is still far from the government target that next year, in 2024, stunting prevalence should decrease to 14%. On the other hand, the prevalence of wasting increases from 7.1% in 2021 to 7.7% in 2022. This very much becomes a critical concern, as this matter threatens 3 out of 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. The SDGs aim to transform our world for the better. SDG 2 clearly states that our goal is to end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture, which also supports SDG 3 to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. As quoted from a publication by World Food Programme of the United Nations entitled Climate Crisis and Malnutrition: A Case for Acting Now, by 2050, the risk of hunger and malnutrition could rise by 20% if the global community fails to act now to mitigate and prevent the adverse effects of climate change. They also stated that the majority of child deaths expected to occur as a result of climate change will be driven by undernutrition. Why is child malnutrition very crucial? Children are the future generation. Indonesian government has set a goal, namely Indonesia Emas in 2045. Well, how can we achieve this and ensure a better world ahead of us if our human resources of the future lack proper nutrition since their childhood? Or even worse, if malnutrition risk keeps rising because we fail to act now. Therefore, in order to decrease malnutrition in children as much as we could and achieve SDG 2 and 3, like I've mentioned before, we most definitely have to start from the root causes as well, which in this case is SDG 13, to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. So, what can we do? We can start by taking preventive actions and changes in our lifestyle step by step. We can help with climate change by reducing the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Simple actions such as saving electricity and energy, as well as reducing the use of vehicles and instead making use of renewable energy could lower the amount of gas emissions. Another action we can take is the 3R: reduce, reuse, and recycle to decrease the amount of methane released from landfill waste. This also includes reducing the amount of food waste, as it also takes part in landfill waste. Actions as simple as finishing our food when eating, using reusable drinking bottles, or even avoiding unnecessary purchases could help our planet. Buying less could help because the production of products such as electronics, clothes, plastics, and other items contributes carbon emissions starting from its manufacturing process, transporting for distribution, and even on their final disposal as a waste. Switching to plant-based diets can also help, as large amount of carbon emissions come from raising farm animals. To sum it up, our call to action is to take a step towards an improvement in malnutrition towards a better generation by being involved and taking steps to fight climate change. As the people always say, better safe than sorry, then it is better to do our best to start preventing from now than to be sorry when it is too late to save the future. Together, we can achieve a more sustainable world for a better future. Thank you very much for your attention. Have a good day.